So when government takes its next step, if
Right.
it does,
Right.
on its next political issue, I
Right.
don't know what that would be, but that might be in conflict with the teachings of this word.
Right.
And like my brother says, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. That's the main thing. Right?
You heard it here. All right, this is Project Think, a brand new podcast concept because I'm new to podcasts. I know Dan is as well, but a new concept, another way that you can get a dose of truth and an even longer dose here. And if you can't watch the video, then of course you can be listening to the audio as well. And it's a production of Quest for Greatness, which is sort of a project, and it's growing and evolving. We've had a YouTube channel, still have that. And now we are venturing out into podcasts. We have a website. So more discussion on that, but we're inviting guests in during this this podcast to engage in practical discussions for, again, everyday Christianity. Same goal. It's trying to show what practical walking around everyday Christianity looks like. It's not just concepts, but how to live it. So you're looking at truth. You're looking at that practicality, which at the end of this we'll try to wrap up in a sort of what can I do with this material. And then also dispelling a lot of the myths that even Christians hold about Christianity. So we have the YouTube channel. You can check us out at Quest for Greatness with Zach Krug. That's my name. And then we have the website, aquest4greatness.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and there is a shop as well. If you want to support the project and learn more about it, you can go on there and shop and buy items that will go directly to benefit and put directly into this project. And the main idea of this greatness I keep talking about is to be great the way God defines it. That's the point of this. So the first topic we've chosen, that Dan chose, and I'll introduce him in a second, is the foundations for morality. And Dan Bowman is an elder in the Lord's church. That's the most important job he has. And also he's been involved in law enforcement for over 30 years. So when he talks about government, he pulls from experience. And Dan, I'm glad to have you here with us today.
Glad to be here, sir.
And so the idea is talking about morality and relating it to government, as we've talked about earlier. When you say morality, what do you mean? Well, I just looked up a couple of basic definitions: and conformity to the rules of right conduct. The question becomes, who defines right conduct? If you take God out of the picture, I'm not going to go down that path necessarily, but if you take God out of the picture, then who determines this? It's the guy with the biggest stick that makes the rules, doctrine or system of morals. So it's a standard. Who gets to make that standard? And the question, first of all, is government a credible source for moral guidance and standards?
I think what happens a lot of times when government makes a ruling, if you will, issues a level of acceptance, legislation, or a court ruling, either accidentally or incidentally, government becomes a template and a gauge for what is moral, what is this certain issue, what is the morality issue associated with that. And I don't know sometimes in every instance that government intentionally means to do that, especially in our country where we are represented and we have this right to vote, and we have the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution and like. But as we go forward, especially today, we see this evolution. And this evolution that's happening are long time acceptable practices are being challenged.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the first time that the United States and the globe has gone through some of these challenging periods. We're in one right now, and it's being sustained maybe a little longer than most. Well, let's look at the compelling government interest of security.
Okay.
Low crime rates.
Right.
And if you look in the early 90s, there was a significant reduction in major crimes in the United States, and they're gauged by what's called a UCR, a Uniform Crime Report.
Okay.
And so states, reporting agencies, they maintain, if you will, like in Tennessee, it's the TBI, they maintain the UCR, the Uniform Crime Report. And Carter County Sheriff, Washington County, Johnson City PD, these folks are sending in this data. This is nationwide. And there's another gauge to kind of look at the injury. It's called DAWN. It's the Drug Abuse Warning Network. And so hospitals of certain sizes are required, at least they were required, to report certain drug overdoses and other types of things. And it kind of provide an indicator for substance abuse overdose issues by population, by political subdivision. So it's these things. So my point is that they're very organized. My daughter Laura made me aware of this document back some time ago, and I really struggled with it. Of course, the claim to fame for those in law enforcement, I guess, in the 90s, were the federal minimum sentencing guidelines for crack cocaine violations, possession of a firearm as a convicted felon, possession of a gun in the furtherance of a drug offense. That whole laundry list in the federal system was very punitive.
Okay.
It was very punitive. And so politicians and law enforcement alike were really persuaded that these sentences sent signals and provided deterrence, if you will. Well, that's not the article from the National Bureau of Economic Research, which hosted an article called The Impact of Legalized Abortion on Crime. And this is their working paper number 2004, and it was issued in 2000. And this is a very interesting thing, and I just want to read their opening paragraph, if you will. It's like an executive summary. We offer evidence that legalized abortion has contributed significantly to recent crime reductions. Crime began to fall roughly 18 years after abortion legalization. The 5 states that allowed abortion in 1970 experienced declines earlier than the rest of the nation, which legalized in 1973 with Roe versus Wade. States with high abortion rates in the 70s and 80s experienced greater crime reductions in the 90s. The high abortion states only arrest of those born after abortion legalization fall relatively low to abortion rates. Legalized abortion appears to account for as much as a 50% reduction in crime in this country. And that's normally characterized by violent crime first. That's the thing we'd really like to stop.
Right.
Let's as a friend of mine that retired from the Memphis PD said, let's stop shooting people. Let's stop stabbing people, and let's stop hitting people with things.
Okay.
And so that's 3 really good goals for law enforcement right there. So to my fellow law enforcement officers out there that are listening, those are 3 good goals to have. So if you look now, what is the compelling government interest if it is influenced by articles such as this to sustain abortion? If we stop Roe versus Wade or reverse it, and abortion is illegal, some abortions will probably still happen.
Right.
But in 18 years, our crime rates are going to go back through the ceiling, just like they did before.
All right, stop me, because you may be going there. What's the connection?
The compelling government interest is, why would the government, among 100 different influences,
right,
not want Roe versus Wade to be overturned?
Okay, but my question is, how does killing babies make the crime rate go down?
This article asserts that the prisons are full of people that parents didn't want.
Oh, so 18. I'm with you.
That's all right.
I'm back.
That's good.
18 years later, less. Yeah. Wow. So everybody that's born that would have had an abortion was just a waste of space anyway. So we just should have measured them in utero.
I mean, the ramifications of that whole premise. First of all,
sorry, that wasn't politically correct.
This appears to be a publicly funded research project, by the way.
Oh,
of course.
Yeah.
But if you look at the ramifications, first of all, who decides? Who has an idea of inception that says, I bet the reduction in crime in the 90s is because of the abortions in the 70s. That makes sense, because that hypothesis is the people that are unloved, unwanted, in that home as a youth turn out to be offenders, and most offenders habitually, statistically speaking, turn out to be recidivists. Right. So not only do they offend once, they probably may offend 2 or 3 times.
I got you.
And that's the prison population. What a blank statement to wrap around every person who's been convicted of probably a major crime, but of crime in this country.
Okay.
You're in prison, that means your mom didn't want you. No, it doesn't. It means I wanted a Camaro and I couldn't afford it. That's what it means. So I took the guy's Camaro and I tried to run from Shelby County Sheriff's Office. It didn't work out.